Hey everyone, and welcome back to the NOSR Webs podcast for another deep dive into all things blockchain.
Yeah.
But first, real quick,
Please
visit the links in the description below for amazing offers.
gotta pay the bills, right?
Okay. Now that that's out of the way,
All right.
let's get into it. Today we are talking about blockchain tribalism.
Ooh, yeah, that's a hot topic.
It is. And it's something that I think is really important to discuss.
Yeah.
Because as we see more and more adoption in the blockchain space, we're seeing more and more of this kind of almost like die-hard fans of certain blockchains.
Yeah.
And, you see this in sports.
Oh, totally.
You see this in music. You see this in all kinds of things.
It's like almost like those folks that wait outside the Apple store,
Yes, it's exactly. Like the hype is real.
Yeah.
Hype is real. And so we're gonna kind of unpack all of that today. So I think a good place to start is what is blockchain tribalism?
Yeah. How do we define this?
So I think
what are you even talking about?
Yeah. I think in the most basic terms, it's like a strong emotional attachment to a specific blockchain.
Right. So it's not just like, oh, I like this technology a little better. It's almost like a part of their identity in a way.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like part of their identity. And
which is interesting because it's all digital.
Right.
It's not like a a geographic location or anything.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Interesting how people form these really strong bonds over a technology, which, on the surface, it's
kind of crazy when you think about it.
It's just ones and zeros.
Right.
But I think it's more than that.
I think there's something to be said for the communities that form around these blockchains.
Yes.
It's like
Absolutely.
finding your people, I think.
It's the community.
Yeah.
It's the shared values. It's the shared vision for the future.
Totally.
And it's exciting.
Yeah.
It's exciting to be a part of something that you believe in.
Yeah.
So I think that's where a lot of this tribalism comes from.
Okay, so that's the good side.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing there's a flip side to this coin.
Oh, absolutely. There's always a flip side.
Right.
And so,
what are some of the maybe downsides or potential risks of this tribalism?
Yeah, I think one of the big ones is that it can lead to a lack of objectivity.
Okay.
When you're so emotionally invested in something, it's hard to
take a step back.
And look at it critically.
Yes. And, we're all susceptible to that to some degree.
Of course.
Especially when we feel like we're part of something.
Absolutely.
It's hard to be critical of your own tribe, so to speak.
Exactly. And I think this is where we start to see some of the negative effects of tribalism play out.
Right. So give me some specifics. How does this actually manifest?
Yeah, well, let's start with the markets.
All right.
Because I think that's one of the most obvious
crypto markets are already pretty wild.
Places.
Yeah. How does tribalism make it even crazier?
So we all know that crypto is known for its volatility.
Sure.
Right? But when you add in this element of tribalism, it can actually amplify those price swings.
Okay, so it's like pouring gasoline on a fire, basically.
It's like pouring gasoline on a fire.
Yeah.
Because you have all these people who are so emotionally invested in their blockchain of choice that they're more likely to react emotionally to news and events.
So they're not necessarily making rational decisions. They're just reacting based on how they feel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, imagine a scenario where there's a big announcement.
Like a new partnership.
Yeah, like a new partnership or a regulatory change.
Okay.
Or even just a tweet from an influencer.
Oh, yeah. Those influencer tweets can move markets.
Yeah, and so
how does this play out with tribalism?
Well, if that news is positive for a particular blockchain, you're going to see all the members of that tribe going to jump on board and
they're going to buy.
Pump that price up.
Pump that price up.
Okay.
And then on the flip side, if there's negative news, you're going to see
everyone's going to panic sell. Oh, no.
And so you get these really exaggerated price swings.
So it's like a feedback loop.
It is.
The tribalism feeds the volatility, and the volatility feeds the tribalism.
Exactly. And this is something that we see.
So is there any data to support this?
Oh, yeah.
Have we actually measured this effect?
Yeah, there's research that shows that tribal reactions can actually make crypto markets up to 35% more volatile.
35%. That's a huge number.
That's a lot.
That's like adding an extra layer of risk onto an already risky asset class.
Exactly. And so it's important for people to be aware of this because...
Especially for new investors?
Yes, especially for new investors.
Who might not understand these dynamics.
Because, you might think that you're making a rational decision.
Based on the information that you're seeing.
Yeah. But you might actually be caught up in the hype.
You might be caught up in the hype. You might be reacting emotionally.
Okay, so that's the impact on market volatility.
Yeah.
What about the impact on individual portfolios?
Yeah, so this is another big one.
Okay.
Because
lay it on me.
When you're so emotionally attached to a specific blockchain, you're more likely to concentrate your investments.
You're putting all your eggs in one basket.
In that one ecosystem.
Yeah.
And so we see this a lot with retail investors.
So how much are we talking here? Like, what percentage of people are doing this?
Well, a recent study found that 42% of retail investors have 80% of their crypto holdings.
80%?
In a single ecosystem.
That's a lot of eggs in one basket.
That's a lot of eggs.
You know, it's almost like betting your entire retirement savings on one horse race.
Right.
It's a risky move.
Yeah. And so...
Yeah.
You know, we always talk about the importance of diversification in investing.
Spread the risk.
Right. Spread the risk. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
And this is especially true in crypto.
Absolutely.
Because it's such a new and volatile asset class.
So even if you believe in a particular blockchain, it's still important to diversify.
It's still important to diversify. Yeah. Absolutely. And so, you know, I think this is something that a lot of people don't necessarily think about.
They get caught up in the excitement.
Right.
And they forget about the fundamentals.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about the impact on markets. We've talked about the impact on portfolios. What about the impact on the technology itself?
Yeah, so this is where things get really interesting because
I'm intrigued.
On the one hand, tribalism can actually be a driver of innovation.
How so?
Because when you have a passionate community that's really dedicated to a specific blockchain, they're going to be more likely to
pour their time and energy
and resources into developing and improving that technology.
So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It is.
The more people believe in a blockchain, the more they invest in it, and the better it becomes.
Exactly. And so we see this with a lot of the... So can you give me an example? Yeah, so like Bitcoin is a great example. Yeah. You know, it has this really strong...
That's like the OG tribe, right?
Yeah, it's like the OG tribe.
Yeah.
And they've been able to drive...
a lot of innovation.
A lot of innovation and adoption.
Yeah.
Because of that passion and that dedication.
Okay, so that's the good side.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing there's a flip side to this as well.
Oh, of course there is. There's always a flip side. And so...
So what's the downside?
The downside is that tribalism can also lead to a lack of collaboration between different blockchains.
So instead of working together, everyone's just focused on their own thing.
Everyone's just focused on their own thing. And they're not really willing to talk to each other or share ideas.
Yeah, it's like those rival gangs in a movie.
Yes.
They're too busy fighting each other.
Exactly.
To see the bigger picture.
And so this can actually hinder innovation in the long run.
How so?
Because when you're not collaborating, you're not sharing ideas, you're not learning from each other.
Right.
And so you're more likely to...
reinvent the wheel.
Reinvent the wheel.
Instead of building on each other's work.
Exactly. And so...
Was there any data to support this?
Oh, yeah.
Like, have we seen a decrease in collaboration?
Yeah, there's research that shows that there's a 61% decrease in cross-chain collaborative projects.
61%. That's a significant drop.
It is.
So tribalism is actually stifling innovation in a way.
In a way, yeah. Because
bummer.
It's preventing people from working together.
Okay, so we've talked about the impact on markets. We've talked about the impact on technology.
Right.
What about the impact on the people involved?
Yeah, so this is another really important aspect of blockchain tribalism because...
Hit me with it.
It can have a profound impact on the online communities that form.
Yeah, those online communities can be pretty intense.
They can be very intense.
Especially in the crypto space.
Especially in the crypto space. And so...
So how does tribalism shape those communities?
Well, on the one hand...
Okay, so everyone's just agreeing with each other.
Right.
And no one's challenging the status quo.
Exactly. And this can be really dangerous.
Yeah.
Because it can lead to...
Groupthink.
Groupthink and bad decision-making.
Yeah.
And so it's important for people to be aware of this.
So how do we avoid these echo chambers?
Well, I think it's important to be intentional about seeking out diverse perspectives.
So don't just hang out in your own little bubble.
Right. Don't just hang out in your own little bubble.
Yeah.
Go out and talk to people who have different opinions than you.
Even if it makes you uncomfortable.
Even if it makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so...
Okay, so we've covered the impact on markets. We've talked about the impact on technology. We've talked about the impact on communities.
Right.
Is there anything else we need to consider?
Yeah, I think one more thing to consider is the economic impact.
Okay, so how does tribalism affect the economics of the blockchain space?
Well, one of the big things is that it can lead to market inefficiencies.
Okay.
Because when you have...
Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so when you have all these different tribes that are kind of operating in silos, it can create barriers to trade.
Okay, so it's harder for people to move their assets between different blockchains.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so this can lead to things like liquidity fragmentation and price discrepancies.
So it's like having different currencies in different countries.
Right.
It makes it harder to do business.
Exactly. And so this is something that, you know, we need to be aware of as we move forward.
Okay, so we've painted a pretty complex picture here.
Yeah.
Tribalism has both positive and negative effects.
Absolutely.
So where do we go from here?
Well, I think that's a great question.
Yeah.
And one that we're going to explore further.
Ooh, a cliffhanger.
In the next part of this deep dive.
All right, well, I'm hooked.
Stay tuned.
I can't wait to hear more.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the show.
All right, so before the break, we were talking about all the downsides of blockchain tribalism.
The dark side.
The dark side. And it was getting
a little heavy.
A little heavy.
Needed a little bit of a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's talk about some of the solutions that are emerging.
All right, so there's hope.
There is hope.
Okay, good. I was getting worried.
There's always hope in the blockchain space.
That's what I like to hear.
Because this is a space that's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
Constantly innovating.
Always pushing the boundaries.
And so I think one of the most promising solutions is the rise of cross-chain protocol.
Cross-chain, okay, so this is like the bridges.
The bridges.
Yeah.
The interoperability protocols.
Yeah, that allow different blockchains to talk to each other.
Exactly. And so...
So how do these protocols help with tribalism?
Well, I think the main thing is that they break down those silos that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, the ones that are preventing collaboration.
Right. And so by enabling communication and interaction between different blockchains, it forces those tribes to start working together.
So it's like building a bridge between those rival villages.
It is. It's like building bridges between those rival villages. And so, you know, we're starting to see a lot of really interesting...
So give me some examples. Like, what are some of these cross-chain protocols?
Yeah, so like Cosmos is a great example.
Okay.
Polkadot is another one.
Right.
And these are...
And what are they doing?
These are platforms that are specifically designed to enable interoperability between different blockchains.
So it's like they're creating a network of blockchains that can all talk to each other.
And so this is a really big deal.
Yeah, I can see how that would help break down those tribal barriers.
Yeah, because it allows developers to build applications that can work across multiple blockchains.
So they don't have to choose just one tribe.
Exactly. And so this is a really powerful way to promote collaboration and innovation.
So it's like a win-win for everyone.
It is.
The developers get more options.
Right.
The users get more choices.
Right.
And the technology as a whole benefits.
Exactly. And so...
Okay, so cross-chain protocols are one solution.
Right.
What else is out there?
Yeah, so another interesting solution is the rise of neutral platforms.
Neutral platforms? Okay, so what does that mean?
So these are platforms that are not affiliated with any specific blockchain.
So they're like Switzerland?
They're like Switzerland.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're neutral.
Okay.
And so they provide a space for people from different tribes to come together.
So it's like a common ground?
It's like a common ground.
Yeah.
And so...
Okay, so give me an example. Like, what kind of platform are we talking?
Yeah, so like a decentralized exchange is a good example.
Yeah.
Because it allows you to trade tokens from different blockchains without having to...
Choose a side.
Choose a side.
Right.
And so this is another way to promote interoperability and collaboration.
So it's like a marketplace where everyone's welcome.
It is.
Regardless of their tribal affiliation.
Exactly. And
okay, so we've got cross-chain protocols, we've got neutral platforms. Is there anything else that's giving you hope for the future?
Yeah. I think education is a really important piece of the puzzle.
Education.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like teaching people about the different blockchains.
Right. Teaching people about the different blockchains.
Okay.
About the benefits of interoperability.
You're right.
About the dangers of tribalism.
So helping them to see the bigger picture.
Helping them to see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And so
how do we do that?
Well, I think it starts with content like this.
Podcasts, articles, videos.
Podcasts, articles, videos.
Yeah.
Just getting the information out there.
Yeah.
And making it accessible to everyone.
Okay, so spreading the knowledge.
Spreading the knowledge. Because I think a lot of the tribalism that we see comes from a lack of understanding.
So people are just clinging to what they know because they're afraid of the unknown.
Exactly.
And
okay, so education is key.
Education is key.
All right. Well, I'm feeling a lot more optimistic now than I was before the break.
That's what we like to hear.
So it sounds like there are solutions out there.
There are solutions out there.
It's just a matter of implementing them.
Exactly. And so I think the future of blockchain is bright.
I agree.
But it's going to take all of us working together.
So what can we do as individuals?
Well, I think the most important thing is to be open-minded.
Be open-minded.
Okay.
Yeah. Be willing to learn about different blockchains.
Right.
Be willing to challenge your own beliefs.
Don't just stay in your echo chamber.
Don't just stay in your echo chamber. Yeah. And so...
Okay, so be open-minded.
What else?
Yeah. I think it's also important to be active in the community.
Okay, so get involved.
Get involved.
Yeah.
Participate in discussions.
Right.
Share your knowledge. Help to educate others.
Help to educate others.
Yeah.
And so...
Okay, so be open-minded. Get involved. Anything else?
And I think most importantly, just remember that we're all in this together.
We're all in this together. Okay.
Yeah. The blockchain space is still relatively new.
It's still early days.
It's still early days. And so we need to work together to build a better future.
A more collaborative future.
A more collaborative future.
Yeah.
A more inclusive future.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's the message that I want to leave people with.
I think that's a great message.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about the challenges of blockchain tribalism, but it's not all doom and gloom, right?
Yeah, right. There's a lot of positive things happening in this space.
Yeah. So let's shift gears a little bit and talk about some of the things that are giving us hope for the future.
Okay, I like that. Let's get optimistic.
Yeah. Let's focus on the positive. So one thing that's really encouraging is the growing awareness of the importance of interoperability.
Yeah, I think people are starting to realize that it's not about picking one blockchain and sticking with it.
It's not a zero-sum game.
It's not a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
It's about connecting all these different ecosystems together.
Right. And that's where we see the real potential.
Exactly. And so this is leading to the development of all these new cross-chain protocols and bridges.
Like we talked about earlier.
And this is really exciting.
Yeah, it's breaking down those tribal barriers.
It is. It's like building bridges between different worlds.
Exactly. And that's what we need.
Yeah, we need more bridges.
Yeah.
Not walls.
Agreed. So that's one thing that's giving me hope. What about you?
Yeah, I think another thing that's really encouraging is the influx of institutional investors.
Oh, yeah. The big money's coming in.
The big money is coming in. And they're not just investing in one blockchain.
They're diversifying their portfolios.
They're looking at the space holistically.
Right, which is a good sign.
It is a good sign.
Yeah.
It shows that they see the potential of blockchain as a whole.
They're not just betting on one horse.
Right. And I think this is going to have a really positive impact on the market.
Yeah. It's going to bring more stability.
More stability.
More liquidity.
More legitimacy.
More legitimacy.
Yeah. So that's definitely a positive trend.
It is. Okay. And then I think the third thing that's giving me hope is the growing community of developers.
Oh, yeah. The builders.
The builders who are passionate about building a better future.
Yeah. They're the ones who are actually making this happen.
Exactly. And they're not just focused on one blockchain.
They're building for the whole ecosystem.
And that's what we need.
Yeah, we need more people who are thinking big picture.
Absolutely. So I think, despite all the challenges, the future of blockchain is bright.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm feeling optimistic.
Me too. And I think that's a good place to leave it.
Yeah, I think so too. So thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a great conversation.
It has. And don't forget to visit the links in the description below for amazing offers. We'll see you next time.
See you later.